Your legs feel stiff, your eyes are heavy. It's 3 p.m. and you haven't done anything physically hard all day, yet your whole body feels like it's dragging through wet sand. Sound familiar? Maybe it's the tight lower back after hours at your desk, or that swollen, heavy feeling in your legs by evening, or the fog that settles in even though you barely left your chair. Here's the strange part. Sitting is supposed to be rest. So why does your body feel more drained after a sitting day than after a walking day? Think about that for a second. You didn't lift anything heavy. You didn't run anywhere. By every measure, today should feel easier on your body than a day full of errands and stairs and walking the dog. Instead, it feels heavier, slower, like your whole system is running through static. That contradiction isn't random, and it isn't in your head. The answer is hiding in a tiny enzyme switch inside your leg muscles, one that flips off almost the moment you sit down. What happens inside your body when you sit all day is basically a slow-motion shutdown, and understanding that switch is the key to reversing it in seconds, not hours. Let's go inside your legs for a moment, not metaphorically, literally. Buried inside the muscle fibers of your thighs, calves, and glutes is a quiet little enzyme system that most people never think about because it never announces itself. It just works, silently, in the background, every time you move. The main character in this system is an enzyme called lipoprotein lipase. Think of it as a tiny gatekeeper sitting on the surface of your muscle cells, and its entire job is deciding whether to pull fat and sugar out of your bloodstream and into the muscle to be used as fuel. Here's the part that matters. That gatekeeper doesn't just stay open all the time. It responds to one specific signal: muscle contraction. Every time you take a step, climb a stair, or even just shift your weight from one leg to the other, your leg muscles contract, and that contraction acts like a key turning in a lock. It tells the gatekeeper to open up. Sugar and fat get pulled out of the blood and used right there in the muscle. This is happening constantly throughout a normal, moving day, mostly without you noticing, the same way you don't notice your heart beating. Now here's where it gets strange. This gatekeeper is not on a timer. It's not something your body keeps running just because you're awake or because you ate breakfast. It only stays active when the signal keeps coming, and the signal is contraction. So the moment you sit down and stay down, the signal stops. Not eventually, almost immediately. Research on inactivity has shown that this enzyme system can start shutting down within 20 to 30 minutes of stillness. 20 to 30 minutes. That's barely enough time to finish one meeting, answer a stretch of emails, or get through a long phone call, long before you'd ever consciously feel tired. This switch has already started flipping off. The shutdown isn't a response to how you feel. It's a response to what your muscles are doing, or in this case, not doing. So picture what's happening while you sit at your desk for 2, 3, 4 hours straight. The gatekeeper closes. Sugar and fat that would normally get pulled out of your bloodstream and used as fuel instead just linger there. They circulate, they wait, and that lingering isn't neutral. Part of what you're feeling as that heavy, foggy, half-asleep sensation by mid-afternoon is connected to this exact process. Your blood is carrying fuel that isn't being efficiently cleared, and your body registers that as sluggish, even though technically you're sitting in a chair doing nothing that should be tiring at all. This is where the mismatch reveals itself. Your body's contraction-based clearing system evolved over an extremely long stretch of time, built around a version of daily life that involved constant, low-level movement, walking to find food, standing to work, moving to build, gather, carry. Stillness, in that older context, almost always meant something specific, either genuine rest after exertion, or stillness out of necessity, like hiding from danger. Either way, stillness was temporary and situational. Your body never developed a setting for 8 uninterrupted hours of sitting in a chair while remaining mentally alert and working. As far as your muscles are concerned, no contraction is no contraction. It doesn't matter if you're avoiding a predator or finishing a spreadsheet. The signal reads the same either way, and the gatekeeper responds the same either way, by staying shut. The effects don't stay contained to your bloodstream either. Your hip flexors and glutes, two of the biggest muscle groups involved in this same contraction-based system, go quiet too when you sit. Without regular contraction, blood flow through that whole lower body region slows down. This is a big part of why hours at a desk translate into that tight, locked-up feeling in your lower back and hips, and why your legs can feel stiff or achy after sitting for 2 hours or more. It isn't just position or posture catching up with you. It's circulation and muscle activity dropping together, the same underlying shutdown showing up as physical tightness instead of tiredness. And the story doesn't stop at your hips. Your brain runs on a steady supply of blood flow and glucose delivery. When circulation slows and sugar clearance from the blood becomes less efficient, that has downstream effects on delivery to the brain as well. This is part of what's tangled up in that familiar 3 o'clock fog, the sensation of thoughts moving slower, focus slipping, like your mental processing speed just quietly dropped a gear. The fog isn't separate from the stiffness in your legs. It's connected to the exact same root cause, just showing up in a different part of your body. Even that swollen, heavy feeling in your legs by the end of the day traces back here. Muscle contraction doesn't just clear sugar and fat, it also acts like a pump, helping move blood back up out of your lower legs against gravity. When that pump goes quiet for hours at a time, blood and fluid pool lower down, and legs start to feel thick, tight, swollen by evening. This is why a full day of sitting can leave you more drained than a full day of walking, even if both days technically kept you on your feet, or off them, for the same number of hours. On a walking day, your muscles are contracting again and again, all day long, keeping that enzyme gatekeeper opening and closing rhythmically, sugar and fat getting cleared in small steady waves. On a sitting day, the gatekeeper closes once, early, and stays closed for hours at a stretch. Same number of waking hours, completely different internal experience. Here's the good news buried inside all of this. That enzyme gatekeeper we've been talking about doesn't hold a grudge. It doesn't need hours to reconsider its decision. It only cares about one thing, contraction, and the moment that signal shows up again, the switch responds almost as fast as it shut off. The same system that started powering down within 20 to 30 minutes of stillness can start powering back up within moments of movement. It's less like restarting a cold engine and more like flipping a light switch back on in a room that's been sitting in the dark. The wiring never went anywhere, it was just waiting for the signal. So what does that signal actually need to look like? Not a workout, not a trip to the gym. Not even a long walk, just contraction, repeated often enough that the gatekeeper never gets the chance to fully settle into shutdown mode. In practical terms, that means something like this. Roughly every 30 minutes, stand up and move your legs for 60 to 90 seconds. That's it. Walk to the kitchen and back. Do a set of calf raises at your desk. Take a lap around the room while you're on a phone call. The specific movement matters far less than the fact that it's happening, and happening often. Think about what that short window is actually doing inside your legs. Standing up alone triggers contraction in your glutes and thighs. Walking a few steps recruits your calves, which double as a built-in pump for pushing blood back up out of your lower legs. Even something as small as rising onto your toes a dozen times reactivates the exact enzyme system that had gone quiet. You're not trying to build strength or improve fitness in these moments. You're sending a maintenance signal, over and over, reminding your body that clearing sugar and fat from the blood is still an active job, not a paused one. This reframes that heavy, foggy 3 p.m. feeling in a way that might actually be a relief to hear. It isn't a sign that something is wrong with you. It isn't laziness or low willpower or your body falling apart at your desk. It's your body accurately reporting a simple fact, that the clearing system has been sitting idle for a while and would like a signal to start again. That heaviness is information, not a verdict. It's less a malfunction and more like a notification, one your body has been sending you for hours before you consciously felt it. What's up, yo? If you want to actually see this play out, don't look for a dramatic before and after. Look for small, ordinary differences over the course of a week. Notice whether your legs feel a little less stiff by mid-afternoon on days you stand and move every half hour compared to days you don't. Notice whether that 3 p.m. fog seems to arrive a little later or feel a little lighter when it does show up. Notice whether your legs feel less swollen and heavy by the time you're winding down in the evening. These are small, subjective signals, not lab results, but they're exactly the kind of signals your body has been sending you the entire time if you know what to listen for. So think back to that strange paradox we opened with. Sitting felt like rest, but it left you more drained than a day spent walking around. Now you know why. It was never really about how much you moved in total. It was about how often you gave your leg muscles a reason to contract, again and again, keeping that enzyme gatekeeper opening and closing in small, steady waves, instead of slamming shut for hours at a time. Your body was never asking you for a workout. It was never asking you to overhaul your day, your desk setup, or your schedule. It was just asking for a quick flip of that switch every 30 minutes or so before the slow motion shutdown fully sets in. That's the whole mystery. Not a flaw in your body, just a switch, waiting for a signal you now know how to send.